morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Today is, so I have the right date, July 26th. It's a beautiful 7 a.m. where I am on the West Coast. And for wherever you're joining us, I hope your day is going well for the middle of the week. And I'm super pumped to be here with all of you. For anyone that's new, my name's Joanne. I am the Director of Marketing here at Legendary Marketer. And I get to fill in on Wednesdays when Dave is out handling other things and all of that good stuff. If you are also new here and would like to get a text notification of when we go live, you'll get it within the first few minutes of once we go live with the link to join. You can, I'm putting on the screen right now, text the letters WUL to 813-296-8553. This is a text message service, so unfortunately, if you are not in the States, it won't work. But if you are in the States, you can get that text message reminder. Also, I've been seeing some questions, comments. How do I get a Legendary t-shirt? Well, let me tell you guys, head over to our merch shop, grab all the t-shirts, hats. You can even get a Legendary beach towel if you want it at thelegendary.shop. Head on over there and you can pick yourself up some Legendary gear. All right, without further ado, our full-time corporate mom now is like living the out in the fields, the ranches, some chickens, a little bit, if I got it right, but I'm going to let her share with us. Please welcome the amazing Jaden to the show. Good morning.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. Not a mom yet. I'm a dog mom.
Not a mom yet. That's great. Not a mom yet. So we'll adjust that title, but I loved something you said in your questionnaire about being a mom, because you're already making plans for when that happens. And I'll bring it up again later in the show, but this really hit home because I am a mom of teenagers. Kids don't keep.
Don't keep, and it goes by so fast. And I'm a big sister too. I have 4 younger siblings, so I kind of was a little mama, raised them, and and have friends who have kids and lots of kids in my life, and it just goes by so fast. That's what everyone says. I like just cherish every single moment. So I'm just planning that for my family.
I love it. So tell us a little bit about your background. Tell us about being in the corporate life and what was going on there and what were you looking for to switch?
So actually, I'm not really a corporate girly. I am a corporate girly, but like I feel like it's not who I really am. But I really am a creative, and I started off as a musician, singer-songwriter, play guitar. So that was my job for several years, and then I moved back home to marry my high school sweetheart, and just be close to family again. And that's when I kind of stepped into the corporate world, had to find a job, and I found a good one. And so I did that. I've been doing that for a couple of years, and now that I'm starting to think about planning for a family, I'm like, I don't know if this kind of schedule lifestyle is gonna be really what I want. How I want to, just have kids, be around kids, and just be home for them, be around. And so that's kind of, I was like, I need to do something different. And I didn't know what I was going to do different, because I have to, for our household, it's best for me to work and bring in extra income and contribute to our finances. And so I was on Instagram doing the scroll. You know how Instagram always like serves you up exactly like what you were thinking about? You're like, I never even said that out loud. I never even said that out loud. You're just reading my mind now. So it showed me a mom who was doing digital marketing, and she was working a couple hours a day. She was like, I get to be home with my kids. I'm making more than I was at my corporate job. And I was like, what is she doing? Like, there's no way. Like, she's got to be like selling pictures of her feet or something. Like, there's no way.
Finder.com. She has to be over there.
Yes. And so I just watched her stuff for like over a month. I did my own research. I literally went so deep dive on Google, read Better Business Bureau, stuff about Legendary. And finally I was like, you know what? It's just $7. It's only $7. And if it doesn't work, it's only $7. But if it is legit, I want to know because I'm ready to do something different.
Right. There was something else you shared in that questionnaire is like you just didn't feel, and you mentioned, you briefly touched on it. In your corporate job, you felt like you were like being fake. Like it just wasn't who you were, right?
Yes, it's not. And I feel, yeah, I felt like I kind of had to put on a costume and go to my job and be a corporate girly. But you know who I really am. Like I said, I'm a creative. I don't have the kiddos yet, but I really enjoy like homemaking and gardening and just doing all those things. And we are currently building our dream of having our own little farm. And you know, I'm ready to get some chickens, and I've been talking to my husband about maybe getting me a milk cow.
Okay, I love it. We're right at the start of this beautiful transition, which is so cool.
Yes.
And you know, even when I think what's important here is it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're a digital marketer, you have to be authentic to you.
Yes.
Or you're going to get burnt out. It feels hard when we feel like you're putting on a show in a corporate job every day. That gets really heavy. There's a lot of weight to carry every day when you have to feel like you have to be someone you're not. And the same thing goes when we are starting new socials and we feel like we have to show up as this perfect person. That same weight comes back.
Don't have to do that.
Right.
Don't have to do that at all. And I've even felt the pressure of that in the beginning. I was like, who do I want to show up as? I started on TikTok and I was like, who do I want to show up as? Like, and for a minute there, I felt like I had to show up as who I thought people wanted to see. And then I was like, you know what? The best thing about me is that I'm different. I have always been different. I mean, I have the red hair. I'm loud. I'm so loud. I've always been different and just stuck out like a sore thumb. And sometimes that doesn't feel so comfortable, but sometimes it's great. So I was like, we're just going to roll with that. And I'm just going to show up as I am and show myself in my garden and, you know, show myself with my dogs and just show up how I am. Because I'm also feel like I'm in that in between of like, I want to be a mom, but I'm not a mom yet. And so, you know, I can't speak to all of the things that, you know, moms do and know and go through because I'm not there yet, but that's where I want to be. So I'm also trying to figure out how to show up in that, like speaking to my audience.
I think that's a beautiful space though, because there's a lot of people and a lot of women that are in that space. They may have that desire for them one day, but they're not at that place yet. And they're still looking for their people. And it's really about looking for those that you're going to find an audience that is in that stage of, that's not the life I want. I've already made that decision. There's something more out there, and looking for that a little bit different set of goals. And that's beautiful. And that's so cool. And when you can really follow through with that in your content, you're going to find your tribe that all have the same like-minded reasons they're doing things and making decisions. You got to find your people online. There are all types of people at all different stages of life and choices. So when you can show up where you are and where you want to be, you're going to find others just like it, which is cool.
Yes.
Very cool. I love it. So I know you shared you were a little nervous about doing the challenge at first. How long did it take you to actually spend the $7?
It took me a little under 2 months. I'd say like a month and a half. I watched, because I was researching during that time. I was watching on social media. I was watching the girl that I initially saw. And then I started seeing more because the algorithm just feeds you more once you start seeing those things and interacting with those posts. And so it just kind of like was all in front of me, so much in front of me, so many videos from so many people. And then I was like, there's something here. And I started doing my own research because there's a lot of shady corners on the internet and it can be easy to get taken advantage of. And so I just wanted to make sure, even before even though it was only $7, I just wanted to make sure that it was legit and I was going to be putting my money to something that was real.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think that's really good for everyone that's watching, whether you're live right now or you're watching the replay, is it usually takes people a few months to take action.
Yes.
So, and it doesn't matter what you're promoting, what you're marketing, what you're recommending. Very few people watch one video and take action.
Yes.
Very few. Are there ones out there that do it? Absolutely. But very few that will see someone for the first time. You have to grow that trust, that time. And for some reason, even though we take months to buy, when we become marketers,
we're like, why is nobody buying?
Nobody's buying.
Yes, one piece of
videos I haven't,
Yes, one thing I said to myself over and over in the beginning, I was actually talking to a friend and she said this to me and then I just took it and I was like, I repeated it to myself. But she was like, you're building your boat like in the desert. You know it's going to rain, but it's not raining yet, but you're getting prepared. You're just building your boat in the desert. And so that's what I kept telling myself. I'm like, you're just building your boat in the desert. You're just building your boat in the desert. Just keep building your boat.
Oh my goodness. I love that. So I keep getting are you getting notifications? Are you on your phone? I'm going to pause.
I'm not getting any notifications, but I keep seeing that we're
okay. We'll just ignore it and keep going because you come back in. I'm like, at some point, are you going to be gone forever?
I don't think so. I think I'm okay.
But let's get back to that quote. Building the boat in the desert. That is beautiful because you know what? It will rain.
Yeah.
At some point.
And it has.
It's never not going to rain. But you got to be ready for it when it does. And the best way to do that is to keep building that boat. Otherwise, you're going to drown once it does come.
That's right.
Or you're going to miss it. You're going to miss it altogether.
Yes. And I didn't want to have that regret, of like, man, I wish I would have had this ready. That's something that I feel like I feel like I did well in the beginning was, I always hear Dave say the speed of implementation. I feel like in the beginning, I was so quick to get my system set up and, get things set up and ready so that when people did show up or want to, were interested in what I was doing, like all that stuff was there for them to just dive into and see if it was right for them.
Yeah, which is such a great reminder to just keep showing up, be consistent. And then the other piece to that is also try different things as you're showing up. See if there's any adjustment to engagement. Not necessarily views, which I love that you mentioned that as well. Do views only convert sales? Let's have that discussion.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And even neither do followers.
Yeah.
So like even your follower count, you can still have success with a small following. I have a small following still, and I've had success.
Yeah, it's more of an ego boost.
It is, and it does feel really great when you get that video that hits 30,000 overnight or whatever. You're like, oh, okay, I'm doing something right. It's almost a little bit of validation of like, okay, I'm headed in the right direction, doing something right. People are liking this. People are watching this.
Back in agency life, some of our best clients were ones that didn't engage on videos. They just reached out ready to go. They weren't sitting there liking. The ones that liked and commented all the time, they only wanted free things. They weren't the quality customer.
Yes.
And it's an important reminder. And you can have a video go viral and it doesn't hit your ideal audience. They're just like that one video and they're just kind of lukewarm and they're not really interested in anything further. But if you have a solid video that hits your ideal audience, that they love, even with a smaller view count, because we're all talking about how horrible it is to have 200 or 300 views. But can you
Okay, but
imagine?
that's 200 people. Like, imagine if that amount of people were sitting right in front of you. You'd probably be sweating, probably have little sweaty armpits because you'd be nervous to talk to them all.
That's a pretty solid room of people to have a few hundred in there, sitting there like this, ready for you to talk and share. Yep. Yes. What do you have to say? What can I learn from you today?
Yes. Another thing you said about testing stuff is that even with how social media changes and they change the algorithms often, even the things that worked for you before may not work for you anymore. I've seen that happen for me. Like the talking videos, they do not do well for me. And they did so well in the beginning.
Yeah, totally. And it's part of marketing. It's ever evolving. So we have to be open to ever evolving. And I think it really goes back to, are you in an employee mindset or an entrepreneur mindset? Because the employee mindset is used to having a job for 10, 15, 20 years. And it just is, these are the boxes you check, and that's it. You're going to do the same exact thing over and over and over. And there's very little change overall, unless you change your role. And now it's a new set of boxes. But as an entrepreneur in the online space, it's ever changing. The boxes are not the same for every person. And it always has to be testing, staying up on new trends, that sort of thing. I mean, TikTok is now has a new feature of just text on screen, kind of like Twitter and Threads, as little video clips that they're just rolling out. Not all accounts even have it yet.
Yeah.
It's a new feature because they want to compete. Remember, social media channels are just competing with each other. So it's forever evolving and changing. And you nailed it right on the head. What worked last week isn't going to necessarily work this week, and it might work again a month from now.
Yeah, so you just got to keep trying stuff. Another thing you talked about is like shifting from employee mindset to, business owner and entrepreneur, and like the buck stops with you mindset is that's not just such an easy switch to flip, for everyone. Some people it's really easy, but for others it's not. And, I just want to encourage a beginner who's trying to do this, that even if it is hard for you to change your mindset and you have days where you go back or you get discouraged and you're like, I just want somebody to just tell me what to do, please. Like it's okay if you flip back and forth, just keep trying. Just don't give up. That's the only way you can fail. I feel like with digital marketing, it's just quit or to just go silent or to just give up, like just keep trying.
Yeah. Dave said this a couple of masterminds ago. He talked about if you really start searching on any social media account, you can see the graveyard of marketers.
Yeah.
And it's so true. And some had really good, growing, budding following, beginning businesses, and they just quit and it just sits there. Haven't posted in 6 months, 12 months. Just sitting there as a digital marketing tombstone online.
Yeah.
And that really hit home for me. And I think everyone in the room that day is I have control over whether that happens to me. Do I want to be a social media tombstone? Is that what I want for my account and for my future? And the best way out of it is to just keep going.
And even if you do, I've had to do this even a couple of times, just like take a little step back, take a little break, just a couple of days, and then work on my mindset, because truly that's where all of this stems from, is your mindset. And what do you believe? Do you believe you're worthy of success? Do you believe that you are worth working for something like this? What do you believe about yourself?
So I think a lot of people sometimes feel like they're not worthy. So how do you get past and decide, you know what, I am? Especially women who are, I gotta take care of everybody else first.
Yeah.
Or men that feel like I have to have this certain role, right? There's these societal roles sometimes in there that we have to throw out. Like, let's find what works for me. What do I need? How do I fill my own cup up first? Because then I can serve more better.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's one of the things that I've already thought through, is really important to me about becoming a mom, is having something that is for me, having something that I do, having something that I can build, that I can invest my creative energy, my mental energy into, because that is the kind of person I am. I really love productivity, and it makes me sound like such a nerd, but I really love productivity, and I really love like having a goal and smashing it, and seeing like, can I really do this, and challenging myself. If I don't have a challenge, I kind of become a cranky little person. I'm like, oh, go down. my mindset goes down. So I do things like that in my life just to challenge myself so that I can have a challenge to rise to. I'm a better person when I do that.
Oh, that is so cool that you already realized that. I think we all do better when we have some type of goal. It doesn't, yes. And it shouldn't be a massive goal like I'm going to be a triple billionaire in a year. No, you won't. That's not possible, right? That's not really.
Well, even if your goal is to make your first $1 online.
Yep, exactly.
Or your first $500 online, because that is possible and well within reach. It's not that hard.
Yeah, or even if it's not monetary. My first goal is to get 50 followers.
Yes.
100 followers.
Or even, I want to talk to my followers as if I'm sitting on a couch talking to a friend.
Right?
That could be your
I'm
goal.
going to show my face. The first time you show your face. Or even better, because this is a scary one, the first time you talk on camera.
Yes.
And post it. Right? There's all these little goals we have to achieve. And those are fantastic goals as a digital marketer, as you're learning, as you're building your business. And we sometimes forget those are hard, those are big roadblocks to overcome, that we should all celebrate.
Yes, sure. That's another thing that I try to practice for myself, was like celebrating the small things, celebrating whenever you get more followers, like celebrating whenever somebody shares your video. I kept showing my husband whenever my TikTok was like growing a lot in the beginning. I was like, oh my gosh, look, I have like 2 new followers today.
I love it.
Because hey, that's progress.
Yep. So speaking of your husband, how did he respond when you came to him with this new shift that you wanted to do?
Goodness. Well, I found it. I signed up for the challenge. I was going through the challenge, and then they brought up the blueprints, and I told him, hey, so I know you like really don't have any idea like what I've been doing, but I have to do this. I was like, I just know it in my bones. I will regret it if I don't. I need to do this. And he was like, what? He's my biggest supporter, my biggest cheerleader. And he knows me and knows I can become very passionate. But yeah, at first he was like, I don't know if this is legit. I feel like you're maybe being taken advantage of, I don't know. But I told him, I'm like, no. And so I had to explain to him, this is what digital marketing is, and this is what this course is, and it's here's what I'm going to get out of it. And he still wasn't totally sure, but he was like, okay, we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
And
and when I started getting commissions, he was like, okay, all right.
Money changes everything. Anytime you got a questioning partner, the money will change it.
It really does. It really does. And now, even on the days when I felt like I wanted to give up and I was like, oh my gosh, like, what am I doing? Not seeing the results. Like when I would get too much in my head and compare myself to other people, which is something else we could talk about. I would get really discouraged and be like, I don't know what I'm doing. And he's like, no, he's like, do not give up. He's like, you are doing so great. I'm so proud of you. Like, just keep going. Don't stop. So he's my biggest cheerleader.
So let's talk about comparisonitis.
It's terrible.
It's a bitch.
It's terrible.
It's I think the worst just little thing that people aren't fully aware that is happening.
And no one is immune to it.
No one.
Nobody. So if even that person that you're comparing yourself to, thinking that they have it all together, confident, it's probably not the whole truth. They probably questioned themselves and been a little unsure too, and they probably compared themselves to somebody else.
Yep. Every single person. Every single person.
Yes. Nobody's immune to it.
Yeah.
But that is one of the things that will kill your mindset the fastest, make it do a nosedive, is comparing yourself to somebody else. And what I've learned for myself is if you need to unfollow people to protect your mindset and protect your peace, that is perfectly fine. And I've had to do that.
I highly suggest it, especially for those that, only have 30 minutes a day to work on their education and their business.
Do not spend it scrolling and comparing.
Right?
Do not.
25 minutes scrolling, comparing. Yeah. Now you have 5 minutes to work on your business and your mindset is in the gutter.
Yes.
How is that content going to come out? Probably not very well. And that's when you're now delaying, you're pushing off. Oh, I have to have this, I have to do that. And now it's 4 weeks later, 6 weeks later.
And you've done nothing and no posting. And you're like, oh, I'm the worst.
Well, it's not even that. You just go, it didn't work for me.
Yes.
And there was this massive disconnect because we were busy putting our focus on someone else instead of putting the focus where it needed to be.
Yes.
I think it all comes back to focus. Where do you want to put your time? Where you put your time, where you put your energy, even in your thoughts. If you focus on negative thoughts, negative life. Trust me.
Yes.
If you focus on positive
right
thoughts,
here, that's where everything starts. And it's where everything stems from.
Yeah.
Is what you think about. And not even just I always think about this. It's not even just the first thought that comes into your mind, but it's the thought you go back to and you think again. Yeah. Those are the thoughts that'll get you and that will steer you they determine whatever direction you're going.
Yeah.
So really take those captive and make those behave.
It's so important to really decide. It goes back to I'm worthy of putting focus on myself fully instead of focusing and worrying about everyone else. Because most of the people that we're looking at online are on day 375 of their journey. And we're on day 2 or 3 or 4.
Yes.
And it's such a different stage in marketing. It's a different stage with their connection with their audience. So the content's going to be different. The engagement's going to be different. The trust they've built, even with the social media platform that they're on, is different than a new account. So there's a lot of variations, and it truly is comparing apples to oranges, and people quit on their goals and dreams because they compared to somebody that they shouldn't have in the first place. That's not in the same place.
Yeah, and it's not fair to yourself if you're somebody starting out and you're comparing. You're not giving yourself a fair chance by comparing yourself to somebody who's further down the road and or has a different audience than you.
Right?
Because it's just totally different.
You can even have the same audience, but as humans, we're not identical.
Right. I mean, so I'm going to speak to different people being myself than you would speak to being yourself. I mean, that's what is great about it, is that we're all different.
Yeah. And there's a tribe, like we kicked off the show with, for everyone.
And that's the fastest way to attract your people, is to be yourself. So if you like to get up and get ready and put makeup on and curl your hair, do that. And if you like to show up in sweatpants or your pajamas with, your hair in a bun on top of your head, do that. If you like to work out, do that. If you like to be in your garden, do that. You're going to find your people just by being yourself.
Yeah. And it's more fun to create content then.
So much more fun than trying to be just like someone else.
Right. If you got to pump out 3 videos a day, you got to do stories on Instagram, it gets really heavy to carry the weight of trying to be someone you're not.
It does.
And nobody likes to talk to people they don't really like. So
Right.
why do you want to attract people that you don't really like?
Exactly.
Because you're going to engage with them. You're going to talk to them in the comments. They're going to at some point reach out to you through email in the DMs. And if you don't enjoy the audience, you're not going to engage properly back to build connection.
You're exactly right.
And I think those are the pieces where it's just so crucial to show up as who you are, embrace your awesome, imperfect, amazing, weird self, and you're going to find your people that really connect with that when you go all in with it.
Yeah, I love it when you say that.
I have scrolled. If you hit over on TikTok, just the live scroll, there's some interesting people that are going live with 50,000 people watching them.
Yep.
There is an audience for all of us. We just have to embrace who we are and go find them. Which is pretty cool. So when did you start?
What did you ask me? I'm sorry.
When did you start posting? How long have you been doing it for now?
Since December 31st.
Also, right?
So right at the new year. An easy way to remember it.
I love it. What do you think was your biggest roadblock when you started that you had to figure out how to get past? Like once you were in the education and you needed to start implementing, what was that big roadblock that you almost quit?
Figuring out, well, one, it gets hard sometimes to build your boat in the desert when you don't see any results, when you're not seeing the results yet. And then you start to compare, like, okay, well, so-and-so started this time as me, like they're the same time as me, and they're already seeing XYZ. So I've really had to reel that in of like, quit comparing because you're killing everything you're doing. So that was super discouraging, a super discouraging moment for me. But getting started, I really like creating content. But it has been a little bit of a journey for me to figure out like how, instead of just to copy something somebody else is doing, how to show up as myself. And maybe I can take inspiration from what someone else is doing, but how to spin it, like, how does Jaden want to say this? What does this look like in Jaden's life? You know, how can I show up as my authentic self?
Yeah. I think that's where the disconnect too, even as people go through our education, if you're stuck, go and look, model what you're seeing. It doesn't mean go try to be what you're seeing.
Yes.
There's a difference there. And you still have to make it your own. And it may tweak the messaging a bit. It's going to have,
and that's okay. It should be authentic to who you are and to your life and to, you know, the results you're seeing. Like, and that's another thing is like, never, ever, ever lie. Do not ever lie to people. That's something I have been super, super, you know, diligent about. It's like, always tell the truth, because if you don't, people will know. They'll be able to, you know, see right through that. So just be honest and be authentic after that.
Yeah, it's okay to share your journey.
Yeah, it totally is.
It's okay to share what your roadblocks were.
Yes.
I'm not necessarily a supporter of getting on camera, bawling your eyes out in the moment of a low point, right? I recommend you handle that first, and then you share, I had this moment. I have felt that way. This is how I got out of it.
And tell your story, like, oh, I remember when or, you know, this was my experience. And that's what another thing I've learned that people really respond to is like, even still, it's been since I started, I heard the same message, but even still people respond to storytelling. They want to hear other people tell a story. And even if you, like, you don't have to be animated to be like entertaining, like just be yourself and be authentic and tell your story, and your people will gravitate toward that and show up.
And tell it. over and over and over and
Yes,
over
until you're
and
sick
over.
of it.
And then when you're sick
keep
of
telling
it,
it.
keep telling it.
Yes. Yes.
Because people don't see every video.
And yes, and even if you feel like your story is not glamorous or it didn't happen as fast as someone else, you know, and you're comparing yourself again, like, just tell it anyway, because you're not the only person out there who is experiencing that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's how you actually build trust with your audience. People want to know that they can trust your messaging.
Yes.
So when you have videos that are sharing the same messaging, maybe in different ways, different B-roll, different text on screen, it may look different, but the actual content is the same.
Mm-hmm.
They actually build more trust with you because you're not hopping from, oh, today she's this person, and last week she said she loved this, and this week she says she hates this. And so now they don't have trust in you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something you have to be very cautious of when you're hopping, you know, if you hop around offers of different
Mm-hmm.
products every week often, and you're like, I love this shampoo, and then next week I love this shampoo, I hate that shampoo, right? And then another week it's a whole other one. Right?
Yes. Like, if you love everything, what do you really love?
Right. Then they start to question you, and now they've lost trust, and then they stop buying.
Mm-hmm.
And so it goes back to being honest, sharing what's going on, and showing up as you and deciding what that messaging is going to be.
Yes. And another thing I have tried to remind myself is, like, go back to the basics. Like, because as I've advanced, I've been like, you know, I've learned more. And so I've had more information to share, but I've had to remind myself that not everybody is there with me. They haven't gone on the journey with me. And a lot of people I'm speaking to are at the very beginning. They're still at the starting point. So speak to that, and, you know, keep speaking to beginners, because even if you're speaking to beginners, people who are more advanced are still going to be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Ultimately, no matter what you market, if you're in the health niche, you're in the parenting niche, you're in the wealth niche, whatever niche you choose and whatever audience you have to build connection and community first.
Mm-hmm.
So your content has to connect with your people, not a door-to-door salesman.
Right.
It's such a different, and your call to actions are more follow for more, that sort of thing. Comment if you agree, share your experience on this, because you're building that tribe. We're not just there to sell to an empty room or make recommendations. And that's ultimately what affiliate marketing is finding your people, building connection, building community, and trust to the point where you can make recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
And they trust that recommendation, so they're willing to go check it out.
Yes. That's one of my videos I put up, is, like I said, I'm a recommender. I do this all the time in real everyday life. Like, my friends come to me because they're like, hey, do you know of anything for this? And I'm like, yes, girl, I got you.
Totally.
And that's the same thing we do with affiliate marketing. It's like, oh, I got you. Yeah. I got what you're looking for. Maybe try this.
Yeah. If I'm in the parenting niche and I'm on day one of my social media and I don't have followers yet, I can't make all of my content about this really cool parenting course of toddlers.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, what is she doing? She's trying to sell me on something. It's not going to work that way.
Be yourself.
Have to show moments as a parent. I have to show moments with my toddlers. I have to show struggles that I'm having, and then start giving advice to help those little moments each day about nap time or whatever it may be, and bring in more people. So I hope everyone sees that bigger picture of that's really that first step we have to do first. And that's what I love about your content, even in your social media handle. You're talking about how you stand out. You're the redhead named Jaden. There's nothing, I don't really, it's about an audience that you're talking to, which is pretty cool.
And two, like, building all that is building your brand. And, your brand, like, now it's not so much like a faceless, kind of like how you would think, like, I don't know if I should say a company, but just think of a company. And, it's not like that kind of building a brand. Like now building a brand is yourself. And it is like, I am a redhead named Jaden. Like that's who I am. And that's who I'm going to be. And, people want to know, like, and trust a person. And so as you build your brand, like just show more and more of who you are. I mean, and that is your brand. You are your brand.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, with that handle, you can recommend anything.
Right? That's what I thought too.
And you have a need for, and it would just make sense. And the sky's the limit on content, because you can always wrap it back into whatever it is that you're recommending, which is pretty cool. Something for everyone to think about. What kind of brand do you want? Because that's really what we're building. If you show your face and your name anywhere, you are building a personal brand business. So how do you want to show up as your brand?
And how do you want to stand out?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people who, and no shade, but there's a lot of people who have super similar, handles. And you can pretty much, it's like fill in the blank, XYZ. So I was like, I need to do something a little different because I don't want to get lost. It's easy to get lost in that.
Yeah. And then you're not like everybody else. You're automatically right from the start, like, I'm a fun profile. Come follow me. Let's be internet friends.
Party. Yeah. Let's have an internet party.
Yeah. I mean, yes, Omar, brand awareness is key, because we're not here to build an online business that's going to just be here for a month.
Mm-hmm.
We're building a whole new path in our life. And the goal is ultimately that we have a business for a year, 5 years, 10 years, and let it expand and grow. And we follow that growth through it, no matter where the doors take us. Keep walking through the next open door and open door. But it all starts with, how do we want to show up online? What's our brand? What's our image? What's our mission to our brand? And then start finding our people that match that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really what's key, which is cool. What a fun interview. I've loved talking to you and hearing about your journey and helping our viewers really see some different perspective to this journey that I think is really important. You definitely need to come back. I want to have updates and progress and your continued growth and all of that good stuff. So thank you so much for coming on today. I want to leave you with the last word. What is your one piece of advice for people in the challenge right now? I've already seen tons of comments. I'm on day 3, I'm on day 7, I'm on day 2, I'm on day 1. I don't know if this is for me. What's your advice for them?
My advice for you is that the only way you can fail is if you give up. So do not give up. There are going to be days when it's really easy and there are going to be days when it's really hard. But push through those days and don't give up. Keep going.
I love it. Love it. All right. Thank you so much for coming on today, Jaden.
Thank you for having me.
I hope your day is legendary.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, please go give Jaden a follow on TikTok and Instagram at redhead named Jaden. All connected, no spaces, no hyphens. Redhead named Jaden on both TikTok and Instagram. Go give her a follow, check out her content, comment, let her know that you saw her interview on Wake Up Legendary. If you came in late, I highly suggest, especially if you are someone a little bit newer on your journey, to go watch this entire interview. Jaden dropped a ton, not just little gold nuggets, like gold bars of advice and help and mindset. Definitely go give her a follow and rewatch this interview if you missed any of it. For those asking about appointments and trying to get months out, we actually have new appointments that open up every single day, hundreds of them. So keep checking. This calendar is always changing and opening up slots through the day, and we only open it up about 2 weeks in advance. So each day, new slots open up. Plus, grab a slot, and you can always email your advisor. The email is on your meeting confirmation. and asked to be moved up, added to a wait list for cancellations because they have no-shows and cancellations last minute every single day. The calendar is always evolving. So keep checking. Reach out to our customer support if you ever have questions, support@legendarymarketer.com. They will get back to you. If you feel like you've sent a ticket a week or two ago, please check your spam. It's there. You can also give us a call. Our phone number is on the website. We are here for you. You just got to reach out and let us help you. All right, everyone. Dave is back tomorrow. Have an absolutely fantastic Wednesday. And as always, stay legendary.